there is a standard within the component called WTL underscore OVS. So if you want to provide the OVS searchable option, get the component usage for the okay. So what I will do is I will create a component. So I will just first show you how the automatic system works. Okay, then you can understand what are the four different sensors that are acting internally, then how we can influence them. So I'm just creating a context attribute, char ID. Yeah, yeah, I'm recording it. Okay, now okay, web intro application and I will execute this. Okay, see here, report option. Okay, so this is when the data start getting better. Okay, there are four phases starting from 0 to 3. Okay, the phase 0, I determine what is the what is the column. Okay, so I determine 0. Okay, in the phase 1, I determine if there are any criteria. Criteria. The next one is I further want to test the value. I further want to search. any sub search criteria, that will be okay. So if you have sub search criteria, then the button should be enabled. Okay. So when I give some values, when I click on start search, at that time, whatever the user selected that I have to enter, upon here I have to fetch the value and I have to display in the search. That will be in my phase 2. Third step. Okay. Now when I click on main page, the value from there the search and not call. Okay. So that will be my fourth step. Okay. So the same thing do it with the OVS search now. Okay. So I'm just going to the context attribute and I'm changing the input mode to OVS. So before that, I wanted to create a component message for the OVS search. Okay, I'm just going to name it as OVS. You can provide any name you wanted. So I'm creating the component message for the component WTR underscore OVS. As I create the component message has been created. Now I wanted to use this component in my particular view. So I go to the property tabs of the particular view. I create the component message here. Then the context attribute. I'm going to change this input help mode to OVS. Change it to OVS. It is asking me for the component. Okay. So what I do? I just put the component the name OVS there. The same thing I am selecting. Okay. So here here I have to write the custom logic. So I should associate the given method with that and I can handle that. Okay. So I just write my method after OVS. I want this method to be a given handle method. So I'm going to call ask this method to react when the OVS is being triggered. So when the OVS is being triggered, a event called on OVS will be triggered. So, okay. So I have said this event handler method. So when I click on this F4 here, this particular event handler method will be called. Okay. Now by default, system will generate me the code for all the four phases. Okay. So here you have two structures declared. Okay. One is LTY structure input and another one is LTY structure list. These are nothing but LTY structure input will convert this structure. Okay. LTY structure will convert structure. The table that you are going to okay. So whatever here, I will create a subsearch criteria for char ID. For char ID alone. This table, I'm just putting for char ID. phase 0. I told you this is the configuration phase. What do we determine? I determine what should be the title of the window, what should be the text that should be displayed for the input fields, and what should be the text that should be displayed for the list columns. That's what I determine in the phase 0. Okay, so my first field is can ID. I want to check. Okay, so if you see here, you have two things. One is label text, another one is column text. Okay, the label text will refer to these criteria, and the column text will refer to this label columns. Okay, so I have only one input criteria, but I have two columns. My column one is again, can I is my column one. I want the can I code, inserting the code for one more field. So here connection. Here you have this LV underscore window title. If you do not want the standard for that, then you can simply set the providing the flight details. And the same manner, you can also control the settings for the okay. So my first phase 0 is my configuration phase. So can I set the what that should appear for the input field, what that should appear for the table columns, what is the table title, what is the window title. So that is what I am determining in the phase 0. In the phase 1, selection, sorry, sub search. Okay. By default, the code will be created to set the input structure. Depending upon the input structure that I have created over here. Okay. So by default, it will be yeah, so whatever I have provided here, based upon the system and dynamic the input structure in the selection in the OVS pop-up. Okay. So if you do not want that, then you can just remove these two lines of codes. Okay. Then when I enter some values in this input search button, my phase 3 will be triggered, which is the phase. Okay. So here, whatever the user criteria that I have entered, that will be assigned in this field symbol. Okay. This field symbol is again same as the structure of the input criteria. So you have all the fields that have been selected over there. Okay. So also the system takes you the binding for the output table. LP underscore select list, which is structure list. Okay. So you just have to write the business logic over here. So what I will do is I will get the I will just I will have the selection criteria that has been entered by the user. What is the selection criteria entered by the user? I just have to write my business. writing my business logic over here. Accordingly, I am filling the output table. The output table is binded to the pop-up window. Okay. So when I choose the value and I click on OK, and the system will provide me the selected value over here. I should bind it back to the place from where the okay. Now I know that context attribute can ID. So selection also can ID. Okay. Because that is the value that I am choosing, right? So can ID. So I will just put it back to the place from where it was called. Okay. Now I will follow the process in the debugger. Okay, I will put a breakpoint in this case statement. In the methods tab of the particular view controller, we have created a event handler method and I have assigned the event OVS to that. That's the component OVS. This is the component that I create. Then you can create one more component this is and you can assign the application. Okay. Now when I click on temporal, my face 0 will be triggered. So the face get it is face 0. So what do I do in the face 0? I simply text the column text. Then what is the title of the appear? Okay. What? Okay. So okay. So we have only one input criteria now. Okay. So so by this time, my second was also executed. It was very my so now this is also. Here again, what are the input fields that I have to create? Then I create the particular input. Okay. So I got the input field on the screen. I enter the value AA. Now the phase 2 should get executed. In the phase 2, in the query parameters, I get the value of what user has entered. Okay. Based upon the user selection criteria, picking up the value and then So and I'm setting that back. Now my result table has been displayed. So I select the value now. My final phase will get executed. Why? Because from the pop-up I have to transfer the that has been called. So now the result is here. I get the selected value. Okay. So that selected value is the market of the number of values. Okay. So I'm just taking that the value is transferred over here. Yeah, one. Yeah, okay. So you understood this. Yeah. And the first one we said the input structure that is sub-search criteria. If we don't want it, we can just simply remove it. Yeah. Okay. I don't want this now. Okay. So what I will do, I just here I will modify my select statement. So when I click on anchor, automatically I will get that. I will just skip this one. I don't want the sub search criteria. So if I want the sub search criteria, then space one also will come into the picture. Because only when I have the sub selection criteria, then I can modify the, I can, you know, the values. Right? I can filter the value according to that. Right? Then I can simply add the selection criteria and then phase two. So when I select the value here, phase four will get triggered and it will populate the value over here. Okay. So I will provide you an assignment. Can you do that? Okay. I will tell you what okay. Um, not the character, look for something that has a okay. So what is the sorry, that is a separate text from the language. So at the top of when I choose a language, I wanted the language here EN. I also wanted to display English. Display layer it should display Dutches. Okay. What you should do for that is everything is just the same thing. Okay. What is the phase four? You are going to transfer the value from that to the screen. Okay. So what you can do is here you have to find one more element. Okay. Say for example, if this is language, you have to find one more element text along with the value to that. Okay. So that is one assignment. Another assignment is here I have carried I have one more combine. Okay. Now if already the value is entered here, when I select on this F1 for this one, I only wanted to display for this particular value. You have to check whether carriage is already filled. If it is already filled, then use display select and display value with con ID only according to that. When I choose the con ID should get displayed over here. Suppose if I have not entered any value over here, then if I click on con ID, then it should display me a list of all possible values, not only for the value that has been entered already here. List of all the possible values along with the char ID and con ID. Now when I choose some value, both these fields, char ID and con ID should get populated. Okay. So can you do that? Okay. Now we will see the next type of search. The next type of search is really program search. Okay. So for this particular type of search, we need to implement a component on our own. Then I will use a component as a searcher. Now what we did is, SAP has already provided a standard searcher, sorry, standard component for searcher. We will use of that component to create our searcher. Right? You're getting my point. Now what we are going to do is, we are going to create a Gremlin Pro component on our own, and then I use the Gremlin Pro component as a searcher. Okay? So I will just go on and create a really program searcher component. Okay, then I will assign this component to one more searcher. So it's one more field and I will do it. Okay, fine. Okay, okay, fine. Yeah. Okay, then tomorrow morning, okay, I am planning to give the. Okay, so for the. Here. Okay, so all about creating the web component. Okay, in SPM, what you are going to do is how you are going to make use of the already created web component. Okay, because I am planning to teach a guide FPM tomorrow. So yeah, I will send it to you. Okay.